Candidates ready for the fight. Voices loud, they take the stand. Who will lead the promised land? Promises flying, hearts ignite. Truth and lies will take the mic. The clock is ticking, make your choice. Who you hear, the people's voice. It's in the ballot, it's in your hand. The future's calling, take a stand. One vote, one dream, one destiny. Who will wear the crown in 2025? We'll see. Words are weapons, wielded strong. Debates get heated, right or wrong. They paint the town with visions bold. Who will rise, who will fold? Shadows reign, your truth will spin. The battle rages from within. One by one they state their case, but only one can win this race. Who will lead this, win this race? It's in the ballot, it's in your hand. The future's calling, take a stand. One vote, one dream, one destiny. Who will wear the crown in 2025? We'll see. We'll see. Promises flying, hearts ignite. Truth and lies will take the mic. The clock is ticking, make your choice. Will you hear the people's voice? It's in the ballot, it's in your hand. The future's calling, take a stand. One vote, one dream, one destiny. Who will wear the crown in 2025? We'll see. Words are weapons, wielded strong. Debates get heated, right or wrong. They paint the town with visions bold. Who will rise, who will fold? Shadows linger, truth will spin. The battle rages from within. One by one they state their case, but only one can win this race. Who will lead this, win this race? It's in the ballot, it's in your hand. The future's calling, take a stand. One vote, one dream, one destiny.
Good evening, everybody, and tonight these candidates are vying for the Palmerston North constituency for the Horizons Regional Council, but with every election there's one thing stepping in their way, and that's your vote.
Good evening. Yes, good evening. It's amazing what happens on Titles Day. We're coming here live from the Wallen room of the Square Edge Community Arts Centre in Palmerston North. How are our candidates this evening?
Good. On point.
Good. Good to hear. Good to hear. So we're off to sit down there and have another It's in the Ballot show, and this time it's the regional council candidates and why they should be your ticks. And before we get off to the opening statements of candidates, I'd like to introduce Catherine, who is going to be our question host tonight. How are you this evening, Catherine?
Very well, thank you.
And thank you for stepping into this role and doing a lot of help in the background stuff to make this show go ahead. It's taken the weight off both Nick and myself.
Fantastic. I'm glad I can help.
No problem. Okay. Now, with the traditional fashions we do here at It's in the Ballot, we have rated number order sheet. And Peter, you get to go first. With your 1 minute opening statement.
Kia ora, Peter Wells. I bring my business and community experience to focus on Horizon's core activities. In business, I've been involved in agriculture, marketing, logistics, and as a volunteer, I've led the building of the Arapoki Mountain Bike Park, and I also chair Horizon's liaison committee, which oversees the flood protection for the city. I believe I have the experience to become your councillor.
I'm next. Hello, I'm Emma. I'm standing for Horizons Council because I want to leave things in a better state for my children than they currently are. I believe our environmental resources are intrinsic to our region, and a healthy environment is a requirement for a healthy economy. We need people to advocate for the sustainable use of these resources. We need people on Horizons Council that advocate for supporting community groups, especially volunteer groups, and we need people who are committed to the role and are able to get things done. I am that person. I am passionate about all these things, and I'm very excited about the possibility of being able to expand my current service to my communities by being elected onto the council.
Next up, John.
Kia ora, my name is John O'Naylor, and I have been a Horizons councillor for 7 years. Late last year, my grandson turned 8, and it got me thinking back to when I was 8, and it didn't seem that long ago. And then I thought about, in that same length of time going forward, 50 years, he may well be a grandfather himself. Now, here's the thing. The Regional Council spends a lot of its time dealing with legacy decisions of the generations that have gone before us. Some of them good, some of them not so good. And it's got me to thinking that what we need to do is ensure that the way we do things now is going to ensure that the future is going to be viable for my grandson's grandchildren in another 50 years' time. It's going to be viable economically, environmentally, and culturally. So that's what makes me get up in the morning for this job. Māori have a proverb that says, kei te ora te wai, kei te ora te tangata, kei te ora te tangata. If the water is well, then the land and the people will flourish. And that's what it's all about for me.
Okay, next up, Daniel.
Hello. Well, I'm new to this whole rig, but basically, I believe I can add value to this council. I have what I lack in age and experience. I can make up for with just a keen eye for detail and maybe a knowledge base that I have from plentiful study. To be honest, this is the one question I didn't prepare an answer for. So I'll just say that I can bring honesty, values, and transparency, and I'll leave it at that.
Next up, Fiona.
Kia ora. Kia ora, good evening. Fiona Gordon. Thank you very much for having us here this evening. This is a wonderful opportunity. Look, for those of you, those voters out there that don't know me, I've lived in Palmerston North for some time, since 1991. I came here to go to university and following on from uni, got a job here, met my husband. I've raised 2 kids in this wonderful town. I love this environment and I love our place. Look, my background is in resource management and in project management, and I've spent a lot of time working with business, with community, iwi, and local government as well. A big part of what I'm passionate about is partnerships with our community. I've been on council for 2 terms, focus on healthy environment, resilient communities. For me, it's a focus on biodiversity, climate action, water, community partnerships, and leadership. And that's all about integrity, honesty, transparency, and accountability.
Okay, so now next section is we get to our lovely box questions. So there are 28 questions in 28 boxes. Each candidate gets to sit there and pick a box number and got to answer the question that's in the box. Now we've set candidates the questions in advance so they can have get some notes and be prepared. You know, they're like organised candidates here, and council meetings also does the same thing before you sit and go to a meeting and get some briefing set of papers. So we've done that. Now every candidate gets 2 button cards. So if another candidate has a question that they would also like to answer, they can use their button card and politely put their answer at the end. And if they get a question that they don't quite want to answer, they can always use their deferred card. Now, Catherine, all the boxes are nicely sealed, well, as we call it. You know, no candidates have a sneak peek of what boxes, look at what questions there are in there. No. Sure, it shows the integrity here. Yeah, so Emma, you get to pick the first box number. What would you like to pick?
Me? I'd like number 4, please.
So we've got number 4 for those at home.
Your question is, why do you think you're right for a role as a councillor?
And what's the letter on the card, please? Sorry, I've got to say that.
W.
W for what's next.
Sorry, yes, W.
Hello. Well, I am a passionate advocate for the values that I stand for. I'm not afraid to speak out, and I have plenty of on-ground experience. And this complements my governance experience that I have on national committees and councils. I push to make practical, sensible decisions, and then I get them done. I see being an elected member of council is quite a big honour and an extension of my service to the many volunteer groups that I'm already a big part of. And I would like to strongly represent these people who have voted for me.
Okay. What number would you like to take?
No one.
This is D.
D.
Are you comfortable with the way the regional council manages its debt position?
This is a good question. It actually falls in line with my line of work.
That doesn't feel right. The one that's on the graphics is much of the work.
Should the council's work involves reading and understanding technical reports on topics?
I'm going to have a look at
That one wasn't in our questions.
No, we never got that question.
the question that came out of the
But we did get the one that was written.
Yes.
Okay, do the one that's on there and I'll change it. Sorry.
That's all right. So, yeah, this is within my line of expertise. I've had a look at the accounts, and honestly, I think it's immaculate, and I wouldn't change a thing. That's all.
Peter, what box number?
20.
This is C. Should rural communities have a say in the operation of council-owned rural water schemes?
Absolutely, they should. If a ratepayer is paying towards a scheme, they should have input into how it's managed.
Okay, Fiona, what box number?
Number 7, please.
This is B. Do you support political party endorsement of local government candidates?
Oh, look. I don't. Right, that was swift. Should start again? No, I won't take that long. No, I'm joking. Look, I don't know that I've got an opinion either way. What's important from my perspective is that if you are running for local government and you are, you need to be very transparent with your community, your voters, about who you might be representing. So clearly, if you have a close alignment or you're a member of a political party, from my perspective, I think it's important that you're simply transparent about that, because at the end of the day, what we want to happen through any election process is to see the community deciding who they wish to have represent them. The only way they can do that is with good, solid information, trustworthy, transparent information to help them make that decision.
Okay, Jono.
Let's go 5.
S. How can regional councils improve collaboration with local authorities and central government to strengthen civil defence systems and ensure a more resilient regional response to emergencies?
That's a great question, because the Regional Council does have a key role to play with civil defence, and those relationships between central government and local councils is critically important. I think we do a pretty good job of it now. And unfortunately what happens is we only find the gaps in these situations after an event has occurred. And so, for example, after Cyclone Gabriel, there's been inquiries, there's been things looked into to find out where the gaps were. And I think the main thing is that we continue to work together to look for continuous improvement in that. But our history has shown that generally we've done pretty well in that area. And I think so long as we keep relationships well, there's an old saying, you make good relationships in peacetime that will help reinforce things when things turn to not custard, that's the word I was looking for. So that's what we do.
And if it turns to custard for me, please make sure it's using coconut cream instead of cow's milk because I'm allergic to dairy.
Okay, let's keep that in mind.
Yeah. Okay, so we've had 5 questions so far, so let's get to another round. Peter, you get to go first. What box number?
2.
Letter P. What skills do you possess that would enable you to effectively collaborate with the central government on regional planning projects?
Well, that's a big question, isn't it? Well, effectively, I've been involved in submissions to a number of organisations over the years, so I have the experience to do it. When P&C Consultants really cocked up their wastewater Nature's Call project, I led a group which effectively got that changed with almost a full support of the council. So I bring a skill set that I work with people to get things done. I research things well, I articulate well, and I like working with people to work through and focus on the point that needs doing. So the simple answer to the question, which has taken me to date about 53 seconds, is that I'm very good at working with people and isolating things to get things done.
Okay, and we've got 2 buttons. Jono, I saw your card first.
I think this is, for me, a clear way that I can be of assistance to the council. So I've had previous experience of being both a councillor and a mayor in a district council, and have worked as a member of parliament. So those connections that I still have within those areas, I can utilise for the sake and for the benefit of our community. And again, for me, it's always about building those relationships before things get troublesome, so that you can ensure that you can make the most of them. So for me, it's about having a really good understanding of the systems and the way different systems work, and the best way to engage with those to get the best results for the people of our region.
Okay, Fiona, your button.
Oh, kia ora. So there's a couple of things that people might not know about me. There's some skills that I have that haven't always been made the most of, actually, I would say, at Regional Council in the last 6 years. One of those things is I'm actually a trained professional mediator. And so that training puts you in good stead for getting people in the room to discuss issues, to brainstorm, whatever it might be, and to go through a really structured process to come out with some really good outcomes. So that's one skill set. The other is I'm also a resource management hearing commissioner. So from a process perspective, again, having some really good background in how to work through some of those complex processes at regional and also at national level when it comes to bringing people together for a common goal. Also, my background's with policy analysis and resource management in general. This is exactly what I love to do. I like to get in a room, talk to as many people that are there, listen carefully, ask great questions, and allow the room to come up with the right solution and move forward.
Okay. Now, we've got Emma. What box number?
20, please.
Letter C. Should rural communities have a say in the operation of council-owned rural water schemes? We have had that one, haven't we?
Can we? Yeah.
Heard that one.
We have had that one.
How do we
So-
get that one in there?
Have a crack at another one.
Have a crack at another one. 11, please.
Gee, I must have double stickied on another card that, so it's probably got 3 labels on it instead of 2.
I'll probably distract you.
J. Spending needs to be within budget without increasing rates. What services or luxuries will you stop?
Okay, so something about me is my husband and I, we've raised 4 children, and at some point we made the decision to do that on a single income. So we had single income for 16 of those years, and that has meant that I'm very mindful of spending and prioritising things. and not having those luxuries. It's important that the council makes ratepayers' dollars go further by bringing in outside funding and looking at how we can achieve things better and more efficiently. We need to be looking at what achievements have been made from the money that was spent, and if it was a good use of funds. If elected, I'll be having a good look at current and future spending, because I'm not currently on the council, and sometimes difficult decisions need to be made.
Okay, Fiona.
17.
Letter V. If you are elected as a councillor, will you de-accelerate council spending on unwanted grand projects and concentrate on vital, necessary infrastructure needs such as roading?
Kia ora. Look, this is a big question. There's quite a few threads in there. When I read through this, unwanted grand projects, also what's unnecessary infrastructure, and also the reference to roading, which as a regional council we tend not to deal with. So, but what I can say is, as an elected member, I'm really, really focused on value for money. I'm really focused on making sure that we go through processes of review, that we check in regularly, that we are spending our money wisely in the right places. And part of that check-in process is ensuring that it's as per the community's voice has raised to us. So we need to always be mindful of checking back in on our priorities with our community. But with having the responsibility with the ratepayers' dollar, it's about efficiency and effectiveness. We can't do it without both those things being met.
Okay, Jono.
23.
Letter H. Do you support the central government introducing rate caps onto local authorities, and why?
Oh boy, this one. I actually don't have an issue with them imposing a rates cap, provided that there is a sound rationale for it. Now, the problem is that where rates caps have been introduced overseas, New South Wales is a great example, things turned into a terrible mess. The current proposal is that it will be for certain core projects won't be affected by the proposed rates cap, but then someone's got to decide what's core and what's not. So, provided something is well researched and well thought through, I can deal with it. My problem is that this doesn't appear to be well researched, and it doesn't appear to be well thought through, and also doesn't support the idea that local communities may have a decent idea about what they want and what will go for it. It also doesn't take into any account whether or not you're working off a low rates base or a high rates base in the first place. So, blunt tool, don't think it'll work, and I'd love to see some research. If they could show us some research to show it was effective, no problem.
And we have a button from Peter. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, sorry.
No, that's enough. But my farming rates went up 15% last year. My commercial property rates went up 15% last year, and that was mirrored again this year. So cumulatively, I've had a 24 and a 30% rate increase in the last 2 years in my businesses. This is unacceptable. We need to do something to bring our rates down. So if a rates cap is the blunt instrument, we have to use it. I support it.
Okay, and we've gone through 10 boxes. We've got Emma. You get to pick the next one. I don't know why it keeps putting you at the top.
I've not gone.
Oh, Daniel, no, go ahead, do it. Yeah.
I don't mind though.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. If I screw up, I own it.
Number 14, if that's one.
What is?
It's because we did up 2 boxes.
So this is letter Z.
Yep, letter Z.
What's one big opportunity or challenge you see for the region?
Okay, well, personally, I'm campaigning on sustainability, so I believe we can do so much in the Manawatu. I believe this community in its entirety has such a heart for this kind of business. So I guess a if the question is an opportunity or a challenge, it would be somehow enforcing some kind of legislation for businesses to act more appropriately with their resources, whether that be with sustainability reporting or just some kind of rule or enforceability to make sure that that businesses are using their resources most effectively and contributing positively to the environment, and not being a burden or wasting resources.
Okay, and we've button from Emma.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to say that what I think is a very big issue that we're looking at is climate change and the increasing frequency of these massive big weather events and our ability in this region to be resilient in the face of these. So that's all geared around our flood protection plans and the ability of our land to bounce back. We are a farming region, and these are the lands that are affected by things like floods, and we need to be looking at our environmental resources, how we can make them more resilient, because our economy relies on these environmental resources.
And we have another button from Fiona.
Thank you. Kia ora. I'm butting in actually because both the previous speakers have rightly pointed out some challenges, and I wanted to talk about an opportunity, and it's an opportunity I've talked about and tried to action actually for the last 6 years at council, and that is about community partnerships. I'm a real big believer that the biggest opportunity that our regional council has in many ways rests with working with our community. There's in the 6 years on council, I have witnessed this huge amount of work going on in our community already. People in charge of projects that they wish to pursue. They align well with what the regional council needs to do as well. There are so many opportunities out there. We've done quite a bit in the last 6 years. We've set up some community funds, for example, for biodiversity. Proud to have been part of that. I'd like to see that kind of opportunity picked up and pursued a lot more from here.
Okay, while we had all the buttons now, I reordered the sheet again. And Fiona, you get to go first.
Is there a 27?
Letters A. Would you support a predator-free campaign in the district similar to predator-free Wellington?
That's a really tough question. It's not actually. Seriously, of course I would. In fact, I'd find it really difficult to see why you wouldn't support that kind of campaign. Now, a predator-free campaign for Palmerston North constituency or across the region, they might be two different things. But in terms of the work and the job we've got in front of us, if we're serious about a healthy environment and if we're serious about biodiversity, there are a lot of empty homes out there when we talk about our forests and our wetlands. So predator-free is really, it's aspirational, it's goal setting, it's about bringing a community together to get the really hard, the grafting done to make those forest homes once again. And it can be done. We've seen success stories, two of which I'll mention briefly: Totara Reserve Regional Park and Te Apiri, the Gorge.
Okay, next up, Emma.
What's left?
Lots.
26, 28.
17.
No.
15.
15. K. How do you plan to use deliberative democracy to ensure residents can directly contribute to the challenges our community faces?
Okay, so I have to say I had to make sure I knew what deliberate democracy was, so I googled that one to make sure I had it right. So this is where decisions are made based on thoughtful decision and debate among citizens. So I am a really, really strong advocate of community groups and talking with the community, and I'm really big on volunteer groups as well. All communities should have a say in anything that directly affects them. However, we have also been elected, if I was elected, people that are elected on a council have been elected to do a job. So it is other people in our communities, they have limited scope and time. They're essentially electing us to do that job for them, make sure that we have informed decision, we do the work, read all the papers, we go to things, get all the information. So this is so that we can make the most informed decisions, and electing a candidate, communities and trusting that candidate to advocate for them, the values that they themselves believe in.
Okay, next up, Daniel. What box number?
Just whatever one is behind that first one there, please.
Number 2.
Or if that's already been done. I think.
It's already been done, number 2, hasn't it?
Central government on regional.
Yeah, that's been done. Maybe just
Number 3?
that one would be good, please.
Letter M.
Okay.
So M for Mary. Concerning the central government's messaging about councils being a core reason for the cost of living crisis due to wasteful spending, do you think this is the case? Why or why not?
My beliefs about the cost of living going up, I mean, inflation's always been a thing. Right now, everyone's feeling it in their wallets, and I mean, I wouldn't meet a single person who would say that they're having it easy now compared to later, unless they really picked up on a lucrative industry. So it's not the council that's causing that's causing the cost of living crisis. I think it's maybe a lot more to do with so many complex financial and maybe global issues that are all having a weight on everyone's, every country's, every community's, and every family's back pocket in the end. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Okay, Peter, what box number?
4,
I already picked 4.
5,
I think we've had that one.
6.
Okay, E. What is your position on the use of 1080 in Horizons region for pest management?
1080 is a great tool for containing predators. There is a lot of controversy around it, so my position is I support it on a case-by-case basis where the research is done and the consenting is all done so that we know that it's safe in the environment it's going to be used in, because it does achieve great results.
Okay, we've got a button from Emma.
Yeah, hi. So I have significant experience in pest control, both in a volunteer and a working role. Pest management is very important to our native flora and fauna and our biodiversity in turn. There are several tools in the toolbox. Trapping is one, poison is another. It depends on situation. Some areas can be trapped really well and some areas cannot. Some areas you can just not trap, so you have to use poison. Nobody actually likes poison, but it is sometimes the best tool in our box. It's, most poison that actually is used by Horizons is Brotificum, not 1080, but there is a place for 1080 occasionally where it is warranted.
Okay, Jono, what box number?
8.
Letter T. What do you see as the main difference between Māori landowners and hapu in terms of their relationship with Horizons Regional Council?
Yeah, when I saw this question, I had to really stop and think how to differentiate it between it. So in the way that I understand the question, we're talking about Māori who happen to own land. So if you are a landowner, your relationship to the council will be about the services that are provided, the particular consents that you may or may not hold, and what council needs to enforce. And whether you're Māori or non-Māori, the law doesn't differentiate. There still has to be compliance with things like the Resource Management Act. However, when it comes to hapu and iwi and other groups, there's a significant role to play that we would act as treaty partners, and in particular some of the settlement legislation requires the council to engage in particular ways. So if it's a landowner thing, there's no particularly any difference in the way that council relates to you. If it's a hapu thing, then there's a lot more consultation that goes on to ensure that what we're doing is consistent with the values that they hold.
Okay, we've managed to make it through 15 questions. Got another round. Jono, you get to go up first.
Boy, I'm starting to run out of family birthdays and wedding anniversaries. 19.
You need to have more kids.
Letter N. N for Nelly.
Or Naylor.
Very good, Jono. What will you do to stop poor council expenditure, allocate resources to critical infrastructure, and rein in huge increases?
Boy, yeah, we have had some huge increases in the last little while, and it was a really interesting exercise to go through, because the trick is you go, what is it that council should stop doing? And in the case of some territorial authorities, it's quite easy to identify those things. But at the regional council, I'm trying to figure out, should we destroy less pests? Should we provide less protection for our for our towns and our cities? Should we not drain land to enable it to be economically farmed? Should we, I don't know, stop the bus service, not have a bus service? And to me, I really struggle to find things that we could actually cut out or cut back on. Yes, we need to find more effective and efficient ways, and we should always be searching for that. The challenge always is how do we do that and not put rates up? None of us like putting rates up, but we don't necessarily want to stop doing the things that we are doing as well.
Okay, Peter, what box number?
What's the biggest one?
28.
28.
Letter Y. Do you think the regional council should move from first past the post voting to single transferable vote?
Who would you like to defer it to?
Oh, is that the 30 something?
Yes.
Okay, if I'm allowed to take that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Look, I'm not sure that that's a relevant question for this evening. I have no opinion on the best way to elect people at the moment. We're currently under first past the post, so that's what I support in this meeting tonight.
Okay, Daniel, what box number?
I can't see the number, but whatever is behind 11, if that hasn't been chosen already, 12. Okay, well, I can count that.
Letter G.
Okay.
The Government and Taxpayers Union have been accusing councils of being irresponsible with large percentage rate increases. What is your view?
I mean, like, this is actually out of my depth. So I know everyone seems to view that councils increase their rates too much as a principle. Whether this is in line with the truth, I can't actually answer. So I think so long as it's in line with inflation, there is no issue. If it's beyond that, then there is reason for some kind of financial analysis to make sure that it's fair and just. Yeah.
Okay, Emma, what box number?
Have we had 10?
I don't think we have.
We'll give it a go, shall we?
All right. Make it a good one.
Letter Q. What budget item would you remove to help bring rates down in Palmerston North without disrupting basic services?
Well, considering I'm not currently on council, that's an excellent question. So I can't really say in detail, but if I was elected, I will certainly take a good hard look at the spending and make sure we are making sensible spending decisions, but also what outcomes we have got for the spending that we've made. Like, was it a good outcome, or was it not very efficient spending of that money? But not currently being on council. That's a bit hard to say.
Okay, Fiona.
Oh, it's 18 still there.
Letter I. What are your views on the restoration of wetlands to their natural form in the Horizons region?
Kia ora. Restoration of wetlands. I'm a huge supporter of the work around biodiversity per se, whether that's wetlands, whether that's aquatic biodiversity or terrestrial ecosystems. Look, the fact is that across our region, less than 3% of the original wetlands remain, and that's a really sad fact. So what we have got to some degree is some museum pieces, and if we don't look after them, they will be gone. In fact, if we do nothing, they'll still be gone because climate change is putting ever increasing pressure on them. So yes, I'm a big supporter when it comes to improvements to biodiversity, wetlands being a big part of that puzzle. The question really becomes, which ones do we focus on? How do we go about resourcing the work that needs to be done in perpetuity, ensuring that the work we do will last the distance?
Now, I was going to say, you've used up your buttons, but have you been given one by someone else?
I have been given one. Can I use it?
Yeah, that's... who am I taking it off?
Jono.
That's fine. Done.
Am I taking it?
Enough in life as it is.
So I agree with Fiona. I'm very much in favour of wetlands. However, I wouldn't want a true back to nature wetlands, because much of our region was a swamp, so that would make for some very damp people. However, they do play an absolutely crucial part in our environment. Like Fiona said, I've got less than 5%, but what would you say, 3%? 3% left of our original wetlands, which is terrible, really, considering the work that they do. So they're essentially the kidneys of our land, and I just want to talk a little bit about that Arawata wetland, constructed wetlands coming off, which is already on its way. It's being built, and when completed, it will be the largest constructed wetland in the country. This is addressing the issue of the pollution of Lake Horowhenua, and that area around the lake is basically the food basket of our region, so it's important that we continue farming it, but we need to stop the pollution to the lake, and the wetlands will do that job for us.
That sounds like that construction of the wetlands is not far from where I used to live, because I was like recognising names and going, oh yes, I know that. And some interesting facts to find out. The reason why the railway line goes through past Levin, that was known as Taitoku at the time, and a place called Shannon that was only named after the railway because of the railway line. The reason why it goes along that way was because of the wetlands. So that's the reason why why the railway line, how Shannon, Tokomaru, all of that actually have become communities, is because of wetlands.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, bit of a rail buff here myself, including a descendant.
I hadn't noticed.
Yeah, a descendant of Richard Trevithick's The World's First Steam Engine. However, I think electric trains are more appropriate these days. Okay, so we've gone through 20 questions. I think we've gone through 20.
I think so.
It feels like 20.
Yeah.
Feels like 20, yeah. Okay, Emma, you get next box number.
Oh, again.
I know.
I know, I'm very special. I'm trying to remember what's left.
So we've got a 16, 13.
24?
We've even got one.
No, we've had...
John reckons 24 is available.
24.
I'm going to blame you if it's not a good one.
Letter R. What role should regional councils play in developing and implementing effective flood protection measures?
Okay, so Horizons Regional Council should play a pretty big role in flood protection and land drainage, because it's a core business for Horizons Regional Council. The main thing that the public sees are the stop banks and the floodgates, but there's a lot more to it. These all need to be maintained and looked after to make sure they're effective. And like I said before, with our current climate changing and hard-hitting weather events becoming larger and more frequent, this is really important work. And if the regional council is not doing it, who's going to do it?
And we've got a button from Peter.
So Horizons has a flood network system which is almost second to none in the world. My farm gets amazing 15-year protection. The city gets 500-year flood protection from this system. These flood protection systems are under threat from climate change, but they're also under threat from bureaucracy and people fiddling with how they're funded. So it's very important we have people in the governance level that understand our flood systems so that we know they're maintained properly and can be prudently improved to cope with climate change.
Okay, Peter, what box number?
13.
Letter L. Do you think that Māori wards such as Horizon's own Raki Māori and Tonga Māori constituencies strengthen democracy? Why or why not?
So I've always advocated for having iwi and Māori around the table, and with my contemporaries, which actually hasn't always gone down well. However, I'm not convinced that the current system we have is necessarily fit for purpose. We have MOUs with iwi behind the scenes. So I think I know we have a referendum coming up which will answer this question. So to summarise my answer is yes, I support having iwi around the table.
Okay, Jono.
I don't know, what's the 27?
For 27.
Done 27? 26?
26.
Give that a go.
Letter A. What political party are you linked to?
None. None at all. I was once and will possibly never be again. I don't think there's a lot of room for party politics. We had that question before about party endorsements of candidates. I think that doesn't offend me too much, but when we do actually have people who run under the banner of a party at a local government level, that does concern me. And look, different people are members of different political parties, that's cool, but I don't think party politics has any part to play within local government. I'm not, again, I just want to stress again, not a member of any political party.
Okay, Daniel, what box number?
So I thought about this one. Is 7 been done?
I don't think it has.
Yeah, good number.
Lucky number 7.
Lucky 7.
Letter B.
Okay.
Do you support political party endorsement of local government candidates? We have had it.
Can I? Yeah. I for some reason I wanted to do the back row, so can I do 10? Can I do number 10?
10 sounds good.
Okay.
Number 16 in the back.
Please, I'll take that one.
Letter X.
Okay.
What is your policy plan to bring public transport options connecting the Tararua district to Palmerston North?
So literally, I mean, this would be quite a wide scope for a project, and this would take a lot of expertise. I believe some kind of a pilot program, just begin, and you'd have to learn as you went. Otherwise, maybe, yeah. You'd learn as you'd go, and you'd pick up on knowledge as you went. I can't answer out of lack of knowledge on this, so I'll end it at that.
Okay, Fiona.
Not sure what numbers are left, but something in the 20s.
We've got 25.
Yeah, that sounds good. No, 21. Let's go 21, just to shake it up a bit.
Might as well use your age, right?
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, I thought that was the voting age my grandma first started voting.
Letter U. What part of the community or business sector does council need to work more closely with?
Well, the first thing I would say is I always find it really tricky you can't put a community into boxes. That's the first thing I would say. So I always find this a little bit tricky. I don't like to put people into boxes. But if I have to answer this question, I'm not going to defer. What I would say is, I think I mentioned it earlier, we have opportunities to work with our community. And so we have some fantastic groups of people out there already doing some wonderful work. Number one, I think that we can do more to engage with those people and see where our goals align and charge those up, get those moving if we need it, not to go somewhere we don't need to go. But certainly from an urban perspective, I find it a little frustrating at times that when it comes to what the regional council delivers for urbanites is not necessarily as obvious as one would think. So people think they think river management, for example, and public transport, but we do so much more than that.
Okay, so we've got through 25 boxes of questions.
Yes.
Should we make should we make 22 and treat it like a hard-hitting question where all the candidates answer it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds like a plan.
Because we've got a little bit of time, and you guys are good at being sharp and speedy on your questions.
Okay, so question 22 is letter O. Issues around climate change are becoming more important. What are your thoughts on supporting anaerobic digestion of food waste to produce biogas, similar to the plant in Reparoa? Please note this is not incineration of general waste.
Should I go?
Yeah.
So this is innovation, and I believe that as New Zealanders, this is right within our hearts. We want to innovate, and we want to use science to better our economies. I believe if we use our minds, we can actually build on business and generate more income and build better businesses and do something good for the planet at the same time. So I'm all for it. And I believe if it's done properly, it could be one of the best things that we could possibly work on. Yeah.
Jono? Yeah, go on. Yeah.
So a couple of years ago, I actually worked on a project to do with dealing with excess food. And the problem was with this type of arrangement, it's quite good on one level, but it's also the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff. So if we want to actually reduce food waste, the first thing we've got to do is produce the right amount of food and get it to the people who are going to eat it. Then if there's excess food, the best possible thing that could happen is that you feed it to a human. Then after that, you would feed it to animals. And after that, you would either compost it correctly or put it into a biogas type thing. And the last thing you want it to do is to rot in the ground aerobically and create a whole lot of methane. So yes, these projects are good, but if they're then dependent on there being a whole lot more food waste going forward in order to fuel the plant, it becomes perpetuating the problem as well. So great way to deal with the problem, but doesn't necessarily deal with the cause of the problem.
You seem to have just mentioned what they're doing with the Wellington City Council sludge plant was that same problem. In order to deal with the more sewage going in, they had to actually increase the amount of rubbish being put into the tip, not less. Okay, Emma.
Okay, so my understanding of the question, so firstly, this is not a Horizons function, dealing with waste management. However, in saying that, it is obviously important to deal with waste issues and continue to evolve the process of doing it to make it as efficient and as high-tech as possible. But these cost money, and how would this be funded? Where would that money come from? Who'd be standing up wanting to pay for that? So as great as it sounds, and yes, it sounds like great innovation, it's not a core Horizons function. We need to stick to a core business, and I don't see how it would be able to be funded.
Kia ora. So this was a great question, actually, and I'll admit now, once upon a time, my first job actually in the workforce was working for the dairy industry, and in the area of research, and believe it or not, in the area of waste management, waste minimisation, and which included the anaerobic digestion of waste. So I will stick to my 39 seconds that I've got left. But look, from a regional council perspective, I think it's been touched on earlier, we don't have a direct role in this kind of thing. What we can do is ensure that the framework we have around rules and policies and plans for our region enables innovation, but does keep check, looks at that, checking in on what are the positives, what are the negatives, who are those affected, so that we can make sure that resource consents for these types of activities, weigh all that up and make great decisions for the long-term future of our communities and for better management of our waste streams.
Well, thank you, team. You've helped me out with my answer a bit because I have no idea about these processes, but I was aware it wasn't a Horizons function. But effectively, climate change is a very serious issue, so we should be using science-based processes to help wherever possible, providing they can be funded.
Should we go for the other question? Yep. I thought there was 25. Yeah, 25.
I started turning mine on. Okay, so this is A, B. What's your biggest priority for the next term, and how do you intend on delivering on that?
Yep. Sorry, yeah, that gave me a little bit sleep at the wheel. Thank you, Nick.
So effectively, I'm standing on a platform as we've got to get rates down. The rates increases that I just said before, 12% last year and the year before for my farm, 15% this year and the year before for my commercial property. Look, that's just a council out of touch that are doing rates that high. So on core activities to get our rates down around the rate of inflation. Flood management, huge for me. I've already told you my farm receives 15-year flood protection. The city, if I make sure can make sure that this all proceeds forward. More from my point of view, I want to focus on working as
Fiona. Line alert, but it must have had changed in satellite.
Kia ora. Thank you, Starling. So biggest priority for the next term and how I would intend on delivering on that. The first thing I would like to say is my biggest priority, it's not about me, it's about the community and what our community really wants to see going forward. It's really difficult. So I will say some leadership. So there are things like transparency and accountability. Some of the things are more around activity-focused matters like biodiversity. It's a big priority from my perspective, listening to the constituents, the kinds of gains we have made in the last 6 years that I've been on council for biodiversity. I would really like to see those continue. We need to hold on to the gains and continue our improvements from there. But certainly efficiency and effectiveness would definitely be on my list. We need to be very clear and transparent about value for money and where your dollar goes.
We good? We good. So what was the question? The biggest priority for the next term, and how do you intend to deliver it? So, a really big priority for me is making sure there is a really strong advocate and a voice for sustainable use of our environmental resources. That's a really big thing for me, and making sure, because I'm going to say two, not one, that community groups are well represented and they are supported really well, because I really think they are the pillar stones of our community and they do a lot of work that needs to be supported. I tend to do that by establishing effective relationships, building on those relationships, making informed decisions, and listening to people that these decisions involve. It's really important to actually listen to people and act on those decisions.
One of my biggest bugbears at the moment, and it's right across the board, is our fascination with binary arguments. And in the regional council space, it's so often the environment versus the economy, or the interests of farming versus the interests of hapu and iwi. And it's come to my attention that actually these things are a myth. I visited the Environmental Farm Awards winning farm earlier this year. They're also one of the most profitable farms in our region. Some of our iwi and hapu are some of the biggest farmers in our region, and of course they want them to do well. So from my perspective, I want to try and break down the barriers between these false dichotomies that seem to exist. And what I will do to combat that is use the skills that I've gained in working with people from various communities and backgrounds over the years to try and bring those people together to work towards common goals instead of it always being about a fight that somebody else has created.
Daniel.
Hello. So I'll just reiterate my campaign goals. I'm running on sustainability. So I really want to see everyone take accountability for every single dollar that they spend in business. I want to see it spent for the environment, essentially, and in a way that promotes the community, promotes, community well-being, and just like there are many goals within a sustainability profile that can be met. So I want to see people actually using just doing common good. So sustainability and making sure that resources are used appropriately, and that's all. Yeah.
Okay, it looks like we've managed to get 7 questions out of every candidate, a bit more than what our target was. But as I say, sometimes you've got to exceed expectations. So just before we go to the go for a break here, we'll do a little bit of housekeeping on there. It's in the Ballot Productions is a independent non-profit organisation that is funded on small dollar donations. Small dollar donations sit there and help go a long way and keep us with independence, as it's not easy to sit there and get big financial backers behind it, plus who actually wants them. Today's cost to run the show has cost us a venue hire of $120. We also have a $14 charge for the connection for Starlink, which we had satellite readjustment in the middle of the show, and we also have restreaming costs of $31. Now, normally we have 2 cars on the road, however, we've decided to economise ourselves down to 1, which means instead of having a $200 daily allowance for fuel, we've dropped down to $100, and we have a $50 amount for refreshments. So any help that can be done, you can head to our Eventbrite pages and use the option Koha without donation. Koha without admission, which will put the donation, put a donation through with the the least fees that it will cost us to receive. You can also go to our Give a Little page and put a donation in there, or if you want to be very speedy, you can always put in a donation into our Kiwi Bank account, and those details are available on it'sintheballot.nz under the donations section. And if you want to, if you're in studio, cash is an option, but it's a bit hard to send that cash for a bunch of video cameras and on YouTube. So we can sit there and do that. So those are little bits housekeeping we'd like to get, and then we'll go and take now a 10-minute break, and we'll get ready for hard-hitting questions after we've had a mix and mingle and got to get to know each other and have a bit of a stretch.
little breather to stretch out your legs. You don't need a leader. The live stream will be back, so don't go too far. But for now you can wander wherever you are. Intermissions aren't really a thing anymore, but we think they're cool, a tradition to adore. A moment to breathe, have a laugh, maybe chat. There's magic in breaks, and we're keeping that. Head to the lobby, I mean your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime. Your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime. Into the lobby, I mean your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime. To the lobby, I mean your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime. just a short little breather to stretch out your legs. You don't need a leader. The live stream will be back, so don't go too far. But for now you can wander wherever you are. Intermissions aren't really a thing anymore, but we think they're cool, a tradition to adore. A moment to breathe, have a laugh, maybe chat. There's magic in breaks, and we're keeping that. Head to the lobby, I mean your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime. Your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime. Into the lobby, I mean your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime. The lobby, I mean your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime.
Oh shit, don't panic, but it's almost time to get back to the show. The candidates have stretched their legs, been partying, taking a break. Cause there's still hard-hitting questions, closing statements and stuff you wanna know. So grab those snacks for their answers and prep for decisions you need to make. Oh, 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 oh. The candidates have stretched their leg. The candidates have stretched their legs, been partying, taking a break. Closing statements and stuff you wanna know. So grab the snack you wanna know. So grab those snacks for the answers and prep for decisions you need to make. Oh, 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 oh.
And welcome. You've taken off
My bad.
the mute's off?
Yes.
Sweet. Okay. Welcome back to it's in the ballot, the Palmerston North Constituency for Horizons Regional Council. Now it's time for hard-hitting questions.
Hard-hitting questions. We don't get anything funny. What does a question? Because every candidate has to answer the hard-hitting questions.
Okay, so hard-hitting questions are the ones that we, not we, I should say, the community believe are the most valuable things to be out there. You know, we get to choose what goes into which letters, but yes.
Starling.
Come on, it's probably saying there's obstructions.
Okay, go.
Okay, so while we've got the connection back, so hard-hitting question number one. Do you think the Regional Council is doing enough in the terms of environmental management of the City and District Council's wastewater treatments and disposal facilities? And let's kick off with Jono.
This is always a tricky space to negotiate because councils, the Horizons Regional Council's role when it comes to the point discharges from our cities and districts is just bound by the responsibilities we have under the Resource Management Act. So we don't actively, as a council, get involved in what they're doing. It's just our enforcement wing's job to issue the consent and then monitor the consent. There's around our region, some councils are being more active than others, which is good. And some consents have long expired. It gets really tricky though when you end up having the regional council then having to threaten to take the district council to court, because all that happens then is the lawyers win and you have to pay twice. So we try to work as collaboratively as we can, but then ultimately at the end of the day the rules have to be enforced, and it's a tricky space to negotiate.
Okay, Fiona.
Kia ora. In terms of the Regional Council role with waste disposal facilities and wastewater treatment plants, yeah, it's a really great question, this. I'll probably echo a little bit of what Jono has said already, but essentially, from my perspective, my understanding is that the Regional Council, we set up the rules and regulations that discharges to the environment need to cater to. And our role there is, number one, is to ensure that people get the opportunity to come in the door with their ideas. How are they going to deal with this waste? What is best for the community and the environment on that score? They get a consent, and then our job as a Regional Council is to monitor that consent and make sure that the environmental standards and reporting standards are met. Could we be doing a better job around enforcement? What we are empowered to do is to enforce the Resource Management Act.
Peter.
So not being a sitting councillor, but having been involved in the wastewater space, effectively the rules around wastewater are set at government level, and it's the Regional Council's job through resource consents to manage that. In this local region, Manawatu currently holds a consent, and Palmerston North currently holds a consent which is up for reconsenting. So again, the process is set down quite clearly by central government, and our role at Regional Council is to be practical, not aspirational, and carrying out those rules from central government.
Okay, Emma.
Okay, so it gets a bit harder when it's pretty much the same words as everybody else. But yeah, Horizons issue the resource consents for the city council around their wastewater. However, it's difficult because Horizons is restricted by the RMA in terms of what requirements can be asked of the councils, and the RMA is going through changes that they may lower the environmental requirements even further. So if I was elected, I would be making sure that any current requirements are being policed adequately to ensure they are being met met. But like Jono said, it gets into a really tricky situation, because if we were to find an issue with that, Horizons will take City Council, but then it's the same ratepayers up against themselves effectively, so it's not the best.
Okay, Daniel.
Honestly, this is beyond my expertise. From just a layman's perspective, I believe there is nothing wrong with the way that the water is being managed at present. So, without any reason to have anything to say against the way that the wastewater is treated, I think it's been monitored well. I don't have anything else to say.
Okay, let's get on to hard-hitting question number 2. Given the benefits of more connected regional transport networks, how can governance structures support the integration of passenger rail between Horizons and Greater Wellington Regional Council, and what steps are needed to ensure an equitable funding, accountability and service delivery across both regions? And Emma, you get to go first.
I knew you were going to say that. That's quite a big question, isn't it? So essentially, this is happening. All going well. An agreement will be signed beginning of next month, I believe. Yes. This means there'll be more regular service between Wellington and Palmy, which is fantastic, and all the bits in between. This is a collaboration of Horizons, Greater Wellington Regional Council, and the central government. It is also a really great example of how working with others can enable us to achieve positive outcomes. Horizons wouldn't have been able to do this without the help of the other groups, the central government and Greater Wellington. Greater Wellington know about trains. They have a lot of trains that they deal with. We only have the Capital Connection, which has been a NZTA run thing. So we wouldn't be able to have done this without the collaboration. So.
Okay, Daniel.
Okay, well, I think the main thing with this particular question is cooperation, with good connections with other councils, progress can be made within days as opposed to weeks or longer. So just being being as upright as possible, and being good. Just being good and compassionate when it comes to the rights of others and other councils as well as our own. So that's all I have to say.
Peter.
So this is a pretty tough question for someone that's not a councillor all over this issue, but it's essentially a collaboration is great. If we can get services shared and costs down, great. The cost of these services should fall, I would say, where they lie, and users should contribute. But look, collaboration's great, and look, it looks like we've got some, so well done to our sitting councillors here that have achieved that.
Okay, Fiona.
Kia ora. Yeah, so my understanding is, hopefully I'll get this right, 2029 we'll see a big increase in the Capital Connection visits to and from Wellington and Palmy. Look, I for one are very much looking forward to that. If you've got young adults attending university in Wellington, this is a good thing, I think. Look, I took this question at a very high level and just said, yes, we've got this underway. But essentially, the key components of any venture like this are going to be about joint governance arrangements and structures. You're going to need thorough reporting lines. You want a great contract with service levels that are clear, with a budget that is clear and transparent. You need review clauses so that you can update your system, your services as you need to, dependent on community feedback. And that would be my last point. Make sure that the community that you're servicing with this is happy.
Okay, Jono.
I remember about 10 years ago when the Capital Connection was under threat, and there was a number of us right across the region advocating in the different roles that we had, and there's a lot of community support to keep the train service going, and we've managed to keep it going and limp it along for as long as we have. But the trains themselves are coming to the end of their life. So it's been great to have been part of working with Greater Wellington Regional Council to find a way that we can work together with them. They needed to buy new trains for their Wairarapa line as well. So there's some good synergies of working together there as well. One of the key points that was key in helping to save the Capital Connection in the first place is that it's an important link between Palmerston North and Wellington. Not everybody uses it, but everyone wants to know they can use it if and when they do. And it's a really important connection. Looking forward to us hopefully being able to really land this and get it going, and I think will transform the connections between Wellington and Palmy.
And you're certainly right. I remember one time I had a flat battery on a vehicle. I needed to get to Levin to get a truck back to Wellington, and the Capital Connection was the thing that actually saved my butt, and it was actually quite pleasant catching on. It did feel a little bit annoyed paying $27, but then I would have paid more in petrol probably. Yeah. Okay, so hard-hitting question number 3. What is your position on retaining the Pio, I'll probably have sat there and said that wrong again, Māori ward for Palmerston North City Council and the Tonga Māori constituency for Horizons Regional Council, and why do you hold that position? And just get the random order that brings up a new one. Fiona, you get to go first.
Oh, kia ora. Look, the Māori constituency at Horizons Regional Council was established during my last at the beginning of this term, so about 3 years, coming up to 3 years ago. And look, we've had 2 Māori representatives from the Māori constituencies, and all I can say is their input and their presence and their decision making has been just invaluable. And for me, my perspective is that there is a place at the decision making table for Māori, for representatives. And I say decision making, it's not about just contributing to decisions or participating in, it's actually making decisions. Being part of that process is so important for our treaty partners. So look, I've found it a great experience the last 3 years working with our Māori constituency representatives, and I wish them all the best for the election, and I'd like to see them back.
Okay, Emma.
Okay, so I absolutely support the retaining of the Maori constituency. The Maori worldview is very much aligns with Horizons responsibilities. So to have that insight around the table is very important for decision making. And also, this is the only sort of, in terms of Maori words, these are the only words we need to have a referendum on. Why? Why are we having to have that? All the feedback I've had from current council members, I've asked a few, is that this has been really, really enriching for all the debates around the table. They've added a lot. I don't see who loses here. Nothing has been lost by having the Maori constituency, so why wouldn't we have them?
Okay, Jono.
Absolutely, I support the retention of the Māori constituencies, and my primary reason for this is because overwhelmingly Māori have told me that that's what they want. The fact that we've actually got a referendum really annoys me. It annoys me that people who aren't Māori are going to get to decide how Māori will be represented. And that just seems crazy to me. So we do have a Māori electoral roll in New Zealand, and while there is one, there should be Māori constituencies. If for some reason our constitutional arrangements change at some point in time, well then maybe we look at it. But actually, if there's ever to be any kind of referendum, it should have been a referendum of people on the Māori roll to ask them for sure, is this what you want? And I'd be happy to go by whatever they want. And because that's what I'm hearing, that's what I'll be voting for.
Okay, Daniel.
Okay, I think this is a very topical question, so I'll try to answer it thoughtfully and with some insight. If we didn't have Māori wards, I believe we would be somehow breaking our duty of care as people of Aotearoa. So I can't speak on behalf of Māori, but I can speak on behalf of my own tribe or family or you know, like just being a New Zealand European. Yeah, by all means, and if not more, that's maybe something to debate in future. But I believe that we should see equal representation by Māori in government. Yeah.
Okay, Peter.
Having already answered this question, I'll just summarise it this time. I've always advocated amongst my contemporaries, which hasn't gone down well always, that I would like iwi around the table when we're making decisions.
Okay. Oh, so gee, you're very efficient on your timekeeping here. I really like this.
That's how we roll.
Yeah. Yeah, you might have to tell Cody to put the jug on a bit early. Let's just hope she's not watching. Yeah. Okay, so let's get ready for closing statements on why you as a candidate want the voters to give one of their 4 ticks to vote for you. And we'll kick off with Fiona.
Kia ora. I'll start by saying, because I'm not finished yet, I'm not done. I have oodles of energy. The tasks ahead of Regional Council, they're huge. There's a huge list of tasks. So I'm up for this. I want to be back. So if with your support, I will gladly be back. The other thing I would say is that I will be very focused, one, on leadership and what that looks like. That's not so much about what we do, it's about how we do it. That is important to me. It's integrity, it's about accountability, and it's about transparency. I'm big on that. But this term, I will be focused also on the value for money and making sure that we are focusing on efficiency and effectiveness, because it's your dollar. How we're spending it is really important. We need to be more transparent. On the issues side of things, I can't wait to get stuck back in and focus again and become that champion for our resource management, particularly with biodiversity, climate action, clean waterways, clean coasts, and of course there's the public transport and our river management. I look forward to being your voice for this community. Naku te raro, nau te raro, ka ora ai te iwi.
Okay, Jono.
As I said, for me, things are all about not just me. It's not just about my grandkids, but it's about my grandkids' grandchildren. And I want to ensure that when they get to our age, they're thanking us and they're not blaming us. So what we need to do is have people who are committed for the long term and be looking long term. And so that's a big priority for me. What I do bring to the table is significant experience of having been a city councillor, a sitting mayor, a member of parliament, and at a time when our systems are up for grabs, when there's a lot of debate and discussion about our mere existence and what role we should play in the future, I believe that I can add some real value on behalf of our community to ensure that whatever structures we have going forward will best represent your needs. And I'd love the opportunity to be able to do that on your behalf.
Daniel.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is the first time for me standing for any kind of government. So I believe I can bring in expertise in my fields. I bring in expertise in science, in visual arts, and accountancy. Especially the last one, I believe, with experience and knowledge in things such as auditing and financial accounting and other branches of accounting, I can really rein in excess and try my hardest to make every dollar count. So when it comes to the rates, I will make sure that these are done appropriately and within reason. And above all, I will continue to campaign on sustainability. So I believe that that I can make a change, and that we can all make a change if we try. Thank you.
Emma.
Okay, so the things that Horizons are responsible for, the environmental resources, are the things that I am deeply passionate about. I have really good knowledge around these things, and I've also am continuously learning more. I'm on the ground, so I've got that experience there, but I've also combined that with my national government's experience as well. So that enables me to make practical decisions and informed choices. I'm definitely not afraid to speak up and advocate strongly for the values that my community would be voting me for. I am really, really big on community groups and supporting community groups to be able to sustain and be resilient in their own right. I'm really big on the community having input into their areas, and I'm a very hardworking, dedicated person, and I put 100% into everything that I do. You should vote for me because I have an established history of working for the community and the environment.
Okay, Peter.
I believe we need a range of councillors to make up a council. I will work with all these people here willingly. That's my background. I've done it before. I'll do it again. But I come from a business point of view. I'm unhappy with the rate increases we've had. What I haven't talked about tonight is we have consents that aren't being issued. We've got businesses that can't plan ahead because of that. We have flood management, which is under pressure from climate change. We have environmental issues. We all want better water. We all want more biodiversity, but we've got to be practical about how we achieve this in small steps. So I have the community experience and the business experience to bring to the council to work with other people to get things done. Kia ora, vote for Peter Wells.
Okay, and just for the last little bits on there, don't have to explain STV for this show because you guys still use first past the post. So when it comes to voting, as a voter, you have 4 ticks. So choose the 4 best candidates you think will best represent you and your values around the council table. That's pretty much all I can say because it's there's no such thing called redistributions and preference changing. So yeah, and now the other part, I'd like to thank Catherine for jumping in and helping with the set up the help set up with the playing with the question boxes and being the question host. It's always great to have someone different from the community than someone internally doing it. So thank you for doing that. And I'd also like to thank our candidates for putting their feet to the It's in the Ballot fire. It's not easy. Sitting down there, jumping on there in front of a camera with a live audience watching from home and potentially can rewatch it right up until election day and possibly beyond. So, go for that. I'd also like to thank both Nick and Stacey for pulling this show off. It's not easy trying to sit there and do that. And I'd like to thank our audience for being there tonight and keeping all the clapping going. We're back here tomorrow for the, what's the name of the ward? I'd like to say the General Palmerston North Ward, but I should actually make an effort. The Te Hira Nui General Ward?
We moved to start because Ted is.
Te Hira Nui. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, it's not easy trying to sit there and not every name. It's a bit of a tongue twister, but that's what it is. Now there is a planned 10 a.m. show tomorrow. We have cancelled that so that Nick and I can actually get some sleep. But we'll be having our 1 p.m. show and our 4 p.m. show there, and then be followed up at 7 p.m. for the Palmerston North City mayoralty race, which you can join us here in Swear Edge Arts Community Centre if you want to be an in-studio audience member, or you can watch live from the comfort of your own home. So going to be there. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.